Hey friends, it's Heather. I am back with another project for Butterfly Reflections Inc. Thank you so much for joining me. I am working with a cut file, a pineapple cut file from Scrapbook and Cards magazine. It's one of their freebies that's offered each month. They have been putting those out for years, and I always make sure to grab them because they're free. It was designed by Nicole Nawasad. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She's the creator for Just Nick Cut Shop Studios. I'm not sure. I know it's Just Nick. I probably should have wrote that down. So instead of just backing it with paper, which I've done numerous times, I know that that is not anything new, and the result is beautiful. I will still continue to do that. I decided it was a pineapple, so I really wanted to create some texture. So I took a big scoop of texture paste and mixed it with my yellow pastel and mixed it until I got the quantity that I thought I needed and the color. And I just scraped it on a piece of cardstock. So I traced the pineapple just to get an idea of the size and just spread it on. I didn't intentionally spread it, tried to spread it smooth or even. I wanted it to be sort of bumpy and sloppy because it's a pineapple. Now I realize the color is not realistic and there's actually green and but I love the way that it turned out. So I took the cut file and I used my little craft tool there to smush it in the texture paste. And this is why you need to have a lot of it, because if you don't have a lot of it layered on there, then there's not really anything for the cut file to be smushed into. I wanted the texture paste to sort of rise up along the edges of the cut file. And once it dried, I cut it out so I could glue it onto my layout. Now, I could have done this on my layout to begin with, but it was a little bit of an experiment and I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, and it also took a really long time to dry. I used my heat tool to speed it along, but it took a long time to dry. But I am super happy with the way that it looked out. Once it was dry, I cut it out and I sprayed it with some of my Sukaniko, I think that's how you pronounce it, shimmer spray. And I'm not even sure where you can buy that these days, but I've had this bottle. Actually, I have a refill bottle and I've had it for a long time, and the only other person I've seen use it is Jennifer McGuire, and I love it. It creates such a fine sparkly shimmer. Anyway, you can't really see it from the video, but in real life it's beautiful. So I backed the stem. Is that a stem? Does anybody know? I'd love to know. The stem of the pineapple with one of the pattern papers from the collection Hello Summer, which I took as my title. I know it's super creative, but it worked really well. And that pattern paper I just showed you, so it says stand tall, be sweet. I don't know. It references being a pineapple, and I thought it was really cute, but it was big, and I couldn't figure out how to incorporate that. There is a sticker, though, in the sticker sheets from this collection that says peace, love, and pineapples, and I do include that. Actually, there's a couple of them. One of them actually has a picture of the pineapple. I don't use that one, but maybe in the future. So I decided to layer the title over my pineapple because it was so big. Well, the pineapple and the title. And I didn't want it to, even though I wanted it to stand out, I didn't want it to take over the layout. So I wanted it to sort of mesh with the other details, if that makes sense. The photo is of my daughter and nephew, and she has a little pineapple on her shirt. So I thought this was appropriate. And I am just pulling through the chipboard pieces. There's flamingos, and I take quite a bit of time to move these things around. I also fussy cut some flowers from one of the pattern papers. There's 2 or 3 really beautiful florals in that paper pad, and I cut one of them completely up. I only have the 6x8 paper pad. As I've mentioned before, Butterfly Reflections Inc. at this time does not offer 12x12 papers, but for the most part, I use a lot of white cardstock. I know maybe that gets a little boring, but I love the way the colors pop off white background. And for backing cut files and photos, it really is perfect. And I love that the patterns are smaller. I know I've said that a million times, but it really does make a huge difference, especially when you're backing something like the top of the pineapple. If that was a 12x12 paper, you wouldn't really see those images. They'd be too large. So I don't know that you'd really be able to see a lot of those images. So those speech bubbles are from Doodlebug, their Sweet Summer collection. They have a package called Chit Chat, and it's got a lot of phrases and speech bubbles. So at this point, I think I had gotten my layout to the design and the embellishments. However, I don't ever take pictures of it. And so when I'm putting it back, it doesn't ever actually end up the same way. But that's okay. I'm still very pleased with the way that it turned out. So I needed to add some color to the background. That's not anything new for me, but it's necessary. I mean, I just feel like the layout isn't finished, especially when you're using white cardstock. So I'm using Distress inks. I have pulled out Abandoned Coral, Worn Lipstick, Broken China. Yeah, I feel like that's the one. And then Squeezed Lemonade, which is the only one I have that's not an oxide, but I hope to get that one soon. I love both types of inks, but the oxides really just, they're so much brighter. And when I try to add the yellow, and I just want a little bit of yellow, because there's already a big yellow pineapple on the layout, but it really just doesn't, the color just doesn't show up. It's just not as bright. So I am just using my trusty plastic packaging to smush it on the background, and I just want some of it to peek out behind the pineapple. And I realize there's a lot on there, but a lot of that gets covered up. And sometimes half the fun is just playing with paint. At least that's how I feel. So I am just adding some with my paintbrush and the plastic packaging. I am then just splattering with the same colors. And just a little tip, when you're adding yellow, make sure the other paint is dry, because yellow doesn't mix well. Not with the Abandoned Coral anyway. So that is what my layout pretty much ends up. I switched out that speech bubble because I was trying to get the colors to, be spread out across the page. And there's that little sticker with the pineapple, and it says peace, love, and pineapples. And I really wish I could have incorporated it, but the pineapple in the sticker is actually a realistic looking pineapple, so really didn't go with the sort of whimsical pineapple on my page. But there's another phrase sticker that has the same sentiment, so that makes it down. I am playing around with these heart stickers from Amy Tangerine because the colors worked really well, but I think I end up adding one, and I spent so much time moving them around. It was kind of ridiculous. You ever get to a point where just like make a decision? They're just stickers, right? I know, hearts. It's like sometimes those small little embellishments at the end are the ones that are the most time consuming for me. So I am now gluing things down because at this point I knew those elements were going to stay. That was part of a fussy cut flower from one of the pattern papers. And I had to put a ton of glue on the back of that pineapple. One, because I was being a little impatient because the background wasn't completely dry. And then because I layered the hello on the flamingo, I had to put some fun foam on the back, and then I had to put quite a bit of fun foam on the summer because partially it was laid on the pineapple. Because otherwise, especially chipboard, that's not going to stay. So make sure you lather it up with some adhesive. That is actually also from the Doodlebug collection. Those little flowers, I just wanted a little bit more color, like the orange. There isn't any orange in the collection. It's a Simple Stories collection, and because my nephew's, yeah, there you go, glue, lots of glue. His shirt is orange. I felt like I had to put some other orange on the page. I think for the most part it sort of blends in and it works, but I don't know, it's maybe the little bit of OCD in me. So I just tucked that chipboard sun in behind the pineapple. And when you think about it, it's a totally unrealistic scene. There's a huge pineapple. It's bigger than the kids. And then there's this little tiny sun and cloud behind it. You know what it reminds me of? Is this that movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Has anybody seen that? If you have kids, you've probably seen it. You know, kids that are not young kids, like 9 or 10. They would be old enough to watch that movie. I loved that movie, actually. And if you haven't seen it, it was really funny. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's a lot of big food involved. So anyway, I am using, I have 2 roller stamps. One is the date, and this one's from Dear Lizzie. It's really old, and it's just got these cute little phrases on it. So I wanted to add some more black because my title, Hello, that was really the only black and white element. So I added a couple of phrases from the roller stamp just to balance it out. And then to finish up, I am sprinkling some sequins. Those are from Pretty Pink Posh. It is from the Tutti Frutti pack. It's just a pink and a yellow and a green, and they match perfectly to this layout. Well, the green and the yellow do. I put a few on the pineapple. And I also use a package of sequins from Neat and Tangled called Sunset Shimmer, and I love that mix. It's got this like orangey pink and dark pink and gold. I don't use any of the gold, but I love it, and it's got a couple different sizes in it. And then I think I also use some sequins from the Sweet Mint mix from Pretty Pink Posh. Maybe I do. That's terrible. I only did this a couple of days ago, I should recall, but I guess we'll find out. And I am gluing them down with my new precision tip glue bottle. I love this glue bottle. I put my glossy accents in it because I am one of those that has struggled with it getting clogged over and over and over again, and then fighting with it to get out. And I know that there is a fine line tip, maybe, or one of those kind that you can put on it, but mine didn't seem to work. I love this bottle. It is so inexpensive. If you have had that problem, you have to get this. All the products are over at Butterfly Reflections Inc. Head over and check them out. This is my finished layout. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'd love to know what you think. Please comment down below, and I will be back soon with another project. Thanks again. Have a great week. Bye-bye.